Hey everybody, I'm Austin. Welcome back to Spur Design Garage. Today in this video, I'm going to be designing something that I saw in a dream. We're going to be trying to recall exactly what that vehicle looked like. It was a very vivid dream in which it was a brand new car company and I was at the auto show watching it unfold and unveil. And it was this sort of compact, almost Model T proportion, very futuristic, yet recalling a lot of kind of old world elements. The Model T proportions, it sort of had this like Art Nouveau esque kind of style to it. And of course, in this dream, I was one of the designers of this new American car company. It got me really excited just because I've been seeing a lot of sameness throughout the automotive industry lately, and a lot of really killer designs, of course, but this was just really interesting to me. It had this very upright windscreen, very short overhangs, and this sort of Art Nouveau, very artistic, a little bit constructivist in the sense of the graphics lining up in a way that kind of reminded me of constructivism art. But I'm going to sketch something quick and try to recall what that was. But now I'm going to start speeding up this video. All right, so here we are in Photoshop. I've gone ahead and scanned in my original drawing. I made a few updates in Photoshop off camera just to try to refine the design a little bit and really capture what I was trying to remember from that dream. And so here you can see I'm just starting to block in some really basic shapes with a hard brush, making sure I get my silhouette, kind of feel out the proportions of this vehicle, where the wheels are sitting, add a ground shadow, that sort of thing, just trying to block in our main shapes here. I've done a lot of videos like this before, so feel free to look through my YouTube channel and go give them a watch. There's a lot of different varieties of vehicles that I've designed. This one is definitely more on the city car side, very small proportions, and here now you can see I've duplicated that green layer underneath. I then dropped gray into that layer itself and filled it, so that I can then go in and erase the shapes. This ensures that the outline is exactly the same. I'm just now creating a different shape layer on the inside. And I want to keep these on two separate layers so that I have the ability to interact with them both. But thinking about things like how these graphics are interacting with each other, Art Nouveau is really inspired by nature. So there's a lot of kind of these floral-esque lines going on in here that I'm trying to capture. You can see that image up in the upper left as an example of some of the graphic design that was coming out of that era. But also constructivists, this idea of, the interplay of different shapes colliding with one another, and kind of taking a geometric approach to it. So it's this kind of interesting interaction of different styles that I'm trying to capture within this vehicle. But I've gone ahead and I've created those shape layers. Now I'm going in with clipping mask layers, and I'm starting to build out the form itself of what those shape layers are trying to convey. I'm doing so with a color dodge method within that same green color, and it's going to start to really embolden the saturation, which makes the highlights look very bright and metallic-y, very much the way that sun would hit or light would hit a vehicle surface, and then starting to fill in the shadows with this darker version of the green. Trying to figure out how some of these highlights would look, and off screen I'm looking at some references of vehicles to try to understand what exactly that looks like. And I decided that this would be kind of interesting to add this other triangular element in the graphics to start to direct your eyes back towards the rear of the vehicle. So it has this kind of circular, it captures your eye movement in a circular manner is what I'm trying to accomplish. Going in again and making sure that those brightly saturated highlights are really, really popping. And then just starting to play with some of these smaller details, like how the form is interacting with the rest of the graphics. Now I'm coming in with some lasso tool and filling it in with different reflective layers. So most of these are on a multiply for the dark shadows, and then I'm also casting a little bit of light or reflection from the ground surface, which is that pink kind of cream color in the ground. And again, using references quite a lot to try to figure out how these surfaces might actually look, how they might actually start to reflect light. And then making sure that my gray layer is not going unnoticed as well. This is going to be a more of a matte gray layer other than the glass in the, obviously the DLO region. So I'm starting to build out a reflective quality to the glass area, and then more of a subdued matte, which is going to mean less contrast primarily. And then going in with some further graphic details in that gray layer itself. So I'm playing with this idea of these triangular elements, surfacing the entire vehicle. You get this unified kind of feeling of these graphic elements. This is kind of coming from the constructivist side of the inspiration. And then just light silhouette of some of the details in the glass region, like the seat and the pillar, duplicating the wheel layers so that I can start to create some additional detail to the tires and the overall wheels. And I'm really going to look at this as kind of a quick sketch, so this is not going to take a whole lot of time to create a wheel design. I'm just going to loosely interpret what I think might be there, what I want to start to ideate on. And then in some of those graphic layers, starting to detail out some of the lighting elements and the other details that are going on in the body side. Then these door shut lines are going to be really important to express what's going on with the form. And I thought it'd be cool to add a clamshell hood in here. And all these layers, I'm trying to make sure that they look good with the rest of the body side. So that clamshell hood, I'm making sure is kind of following some of the form language that's going on in the front, where that kind of peaked section is. And then I'm adding these highlight layers on all the little cut lines that are going to catch a little bit more light, just to make it look that much more realistic. The lighting in the headlamp, and then some details further into the tire region. I think something kind of quirky and maybe four-spoked might be the way to go with something like this. It's definitely a quirky, interesting looking vehicle, definitely not conventional. So we're going to play around with the symmetry, and four spokes always kind of have this quirky quality to them, in my opinion. So just quickly, putting in some detail here and some of the tire tread. Off camera, I do change up what these tires look like, or these wheel designs look like slightly, just to, I think, interact with the rest of the design language a little bit more. But you can kind of see my methods of doing that. And here's where I ended up with the final design. Definitely let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. Have a great day.